We are seeing one of the strangest global events of our lifetimes. Power companies in the USA, Canada, Europe, Japan, and who knows where else, who have no business other than to safely deliver utility services to us, have been enlisted by some global agenda to install radiation-emitting surveillance devices on our homes that they are calling smart meters. The reason that this is so strange is that even after we have told them that these devices are dangerous, harmful, unlawful, and invasive, they flatly ignore us and continue to attempt the installations as if we were speaking to a hole in the ground. We know now that our power companies were perfectly aware of the problems with these meters from the beginning, and they even developed and planned strategies to withhold information about the meters, to install the devices without our knowledge or consent, to lie to us about what the digital meters are and what they do, and refuse to provide verifiable answers to questions about those meters. They could not have sent a more clear signal that the meters are not in our interest. Our power companies have allowed themselves to become partisans and to become enemies of their customers' health, safety, and privacy in some strange and new program to collect data and possibly harm everyone who has a utility meter. The new digital meters are designed to do things utility meters don't need to do, and power companies refuse to explain why they are so determined to push this on us. Most of us have become very dependent on our utilities, and our dependency is now being exploited by a global matrix called the smart grid, designed for massive collection and centralization of personal data. Because this smart grid program operates largely in secret, there are many theories emerging and being explored. This is not limited to just your power company or even your country. It's clearly coordinated internationally. United Nations Agenda 21 has become suspected as a key driver because that agenda calls for global controls of population behaviors and collection of data at the local level, just as the digital meters are designed to do. Those United Nations programs have been directly funded by proponents of global governance and depopulation such as Ted Turner, Bill Gates, George Soros, and other members of secret societies advocating depopulation such as the Club of Rome. Again, this is currently largely rumor and speculation, and we certainly need more facts to fully understand the bizarre experiment of invading private homes all over the world with high-tech monitoring devices posing as utility meters. Depopulation agenda or not, digital utility meters offer no benefit whatsoever to customers and pose a number of very serious hazards. It's hard to imagine the forces and pressures that could have enlisted your power companies in the smart meter program because broad-scale deployment of those meters exposes the power companies to huge negative legal and political consequences. Because of the secret character of the smart meter rollout, utility customers have been caught very much off guard and have made some mistakes on how we respond to this assault. We have protested and demonstrated. We have pleaded and argued with the utility company to remove the meters. We have asked the utility company to provide solutions, assuming they would want to. We have failed to recognize that the problem is much larger than mismanagement of a utility company. We have a determined public enemy at a level above our utility companies. The power company is a low or mid-level player, and they are playing on the wrong side. This forces us into a different relationship with our utility companies. You don't negotiate with criminals. You don't let them commit a little bit of crime along with an essential public service. Crime is crime. The only thing that crime calls for is enforcement, and unfortunately, as is so common these days, none of our public agencies seem to be willing or able to enforce safe utility metering for us, and we have no choice but to enforce for ourselves. Enforcement is very different from petitioning an institution for better service or responsible conduct. We must let go of our consumer mentality and adopt the mentality of an enforcer. Enforcement means force. It means command. It means using leverage, strategy, and power in a targeted way against a determined opponent. If you want your home in the future to be free of excess electromagnetic radiation and monitoring devices, there are some strategic and targeted strategies that I can suggest. First, never compromise with a violator. Never negotiate your rights, safety, and health away. Giving up those things damages you. What that means in the struggle against digital utility metering is never agree to any harmful or unclear proposal that has been devised by your utility company. Do not regard the company as your friend. They may offer to violate you a little less and call it an opt-out. They actually have the gall to demand payments for not violating you. There is no word for that but extortion. It would be unbelievable if it wasn't actually happening. In California, in February of 2012, Pacific Gas and Electric and the California Public Utilities Commission decided, without any consensus from or even disclosure to most utility customers, that all Californians should pay a large fee up front and monthly fees forever for the privilege of not having a more expensive electric meter that emits cancer-causing radiation and conducts surveillance on private activities inside the home. Never before have these utilities and regulators lost their reason and common sense to the point where they have attempted to charge people for not having something. The logic is amazing. I guess this is what they're thinking. They expect to make huge new revenues by charging you for what they call time of day usage. Because their meters will be spying on your daily and hourly energy consumption behavior, they can attach fees and penalties to behavior they deem to be undesirable. If you refuse to accept the smart meter that enables them to raise all these fees, they want a way to get the revenues anyway, by simply charging you fees for not having the meter. And amazingly, regulators failed to see the plain criminal idiocy of such a scheme. This represents a major new paradigm in the exploitation of utility customers. It's astonishing that utility companies and regulators even imagined they could get away with such an assault on the basic rights of utility customers, and to presume that no one would resist, object, or hold them accountable for violating the public interest in such a blatant and contrived way. Public officials and utility administrators can be imprisoned for this if we and our justice system step up to the task. So that's the first strategy. Never accept any shady, half-criminal opt-out offer from your power company. The next strategy is even more powerful. Basically, it is collecting evidence. Evidence is what wins in a legal conflict. Many people are experiencing sudden and unusual health problems, going on for weeks or months, only to realize they started on the day the smart meter was installed. If a digital meter is ever installed on your home or workplace, keep a diary of all the changes in the occupant's health from the day that meter is installed. Write down the time, the day, the name of the victim, and the description of the symptoms or problems. Just from doing a few videos on smart meters, I've received many dozens of calls from people with horror stories about their digital meters. The story usually goes something like this. My kids and I were getting sick. The doctors couldn't figure out what was causing it. Then we realized it all started at the same time they installed our smart meter. Headaches, nausea, insomnia, lack of concentration, heart palpitations, mood swings, depression, confusion, poor performance at work or school, sick days, lost jobs, family dysfunctions and conflicts, disintegrating relationships. These are all things that should be written down and described with time and date. You'll find that you'll have a powerful legal device there. You can bring that as a sworn statement before your utility company or a court, and they will have no way to dispute or rebut that with first-hand knowledge. You have just created compelling and prevailing evidence in any legal contest. It's more important than you may know. Without that diary, you have little or no recourse against the costs to your health and your family that a digital utility meter may cause. Simply having that record gives you the legal power and advantage to leverage the future your way and to defeat the violator. The power company, who thinks it doesn't have to listen and respond to your demand for safety, health and privacy. The public is awakening to this issue. Our opinions and our voices are changing the political equation in the digital meter invasion. But this is no small program, and we will have to be heard. All of us will have to be heard if we wish to protect our health, safety, and privacy. That's the strategy for now. Refuse the installations, refuse the opt-outs, and keep records of any problems the digital meters are causing you. Those are the best protections we can have right now that I could think of. In an odd way, this digital meter problem is a helpful signal. It is clear now that we need to take action to get electromagnetic radiation and institutional surveillance out of our lives.